Sun is behind a cloud. Now's my chance. I came out here earlier and tried to film outside, but I am not used to being out in full sunlight. Been like Gollum living in my little basement cave for the last year or so. Am I being extra right now? Maybe. Do I care? Not really. Hi ho there, it's me, Amy the Eclectic Norse Pagan, and today I just wanted to sit outside in my yard on this beautiful spring day, allergies or no allergies, because I have an awesome, huge, crystal, shiny rocks haul that I want to share and show off with you today. This is what happens when a rock / metaphysical store moves in right next to your husband's place of work. It's really, really great for my practice as a new like witch / Norse pagan, but really bad for my bank account. But I have all kinds of new things that I want to do a little show and tell video with today. For the most part, I would say my strategy when going into that type of shop where they sell crystals, minerals, rocks, gemstones, that type of thing, is to go in and just see what appeals to me. You know, just see what stands out, rifle through everything, pick things up, hold them in my hand, and it is an unwritten law of the universe that if you find a shiny rock and it fits perfectly in your hand, you must take it home with you. I don't make the rules. It's the first nice day in a while, so if you hear random lawnmowers and that type of thing in the background, that's why. I have many things here in my little box of shiny rocks here to share with you today. And usually, like I said, what I'll do is just kind of go in and pick out whatever speaks to me. Lately, you know, once the shop opened up nearby Miguel's work, I kind of started to just look around different crystal meanings here and there to figure out what might be some good just basics that I didn't already have that I might want to specifically, you know, keep an eye out for and be on the lookout for. But in general, I just go in, see what stands out to me, and then after I've already purchased things and taken them home, then I will kind of get on the interwebs and look up what they mean and what they might be used for and go from there. And usually it kind of is one of those like synchronicity type things where whatever I've ended up picking out, I'll look up what it can be used for, and it will usually end up being something like very apropos and sometimes a little too on the nose with, you know, whatever issues that I'm currently facing or whatever I'm wanting to manifest or needing assistance with. Whatever issue or thing that I am looking for a shiny rock for, it usually ends up being the shiny rock that I've picked out. So just usually trust your gut, as with most things in this practice. That being said, I have some things here that I purchased, and then I took some little notes that I've jotted down after I went back and looked up what everything meant. So maybe it's still a little bright out for me, but we'll see. Maybe I can keep them off for a while. So the first thing that I want to share with you is this lovely big Selenite wand. They had short ones and long ones. I got the big one. If they ever get the shorter ones back in stock, I might pick up one of those too, just to put in my travel altar, because this is something that I was specifically on the lookout for to add to my collection, because one of the things that I read about selenite is that It's self-cleansing. Most crystals, gemstones, that type of thing, or really, anything that you're using often with witchcraft or energy needs to be cleansed on a semi-regular basis. Even most crystals and things that I have in my collection, especially if I've been wearing them or using them for something, I will either, as I showed you in my like crystal cleansing video, put them in a container or dish with some salt, and or leave them out in direct sunlight to cleanse, purify, recharge them. But the thing that I read about selenite is it's supposed to be self-cleansing, so you don't need to do anything to it to cleanse it. It's some property within the stone itself, it cleanses itself, and so therefore you can also use it as an all-purpose cleanser for anything else. So I've been keeping this on my Freya altar, and I like to use it to cleanse the altar space just by kind of waving it around. It's a Selenite wand, so I'll wave it around like a wand over the altar to kind of cleanse and purify the space, or maybe as kind of an informal way of like casting a circle, don't you know? Sometimes, man, you can take the girl out of Wisconsin, but for as long as I've been out of that state, you really can't take the Wisconsin out of the girl. So yeah, I keep it on my Freya altar. I'll use it to cleanse the altar. I also have been kind of using it almost like a little metal detector wand, like you'll see in the airport, on myself. I'll kind of like use it to scan and cleanse myself and my aura as I'm standing there, and that type of thing. And I do really feel that it's helpful for that. I definitely feel, a difference on myself when I use it on myself to cleanse my energy and my aura. Boy, howdy, because I've needed a lot of that these days. I just wanted to have something easy to use, hands-on, and yeah, something that I could use for cleansing when I don't have things like smoke, salt, or sunlight. So very useful for that. But if I can get a shorter version to travel that's more travel friendly, I will definitely be keeping an eye out for something like that as well. The second big thing I have here is my honey calcite. At first, when I picked this up in the shop, I thought maybe it was like a huge chunk of citrine because of just how like yellow and gold it looked. Because a lot of citrine you'll see will look like this, where it'll be gold, and then sometimes, cloudy or clear, like almost just a clear quartz. So I thought that was what this was at first, but when you kind of look closer, you can see these more calcium-like deposits in there, which kind of told me that it wasn't citrine, so it ended up being honey calcite, which calcite is a pretty commonly occurring mineral from what I read, but I liked the fact that this did kind of look like citrine, and the fact that it's specifically called honey calcite made me really want it for Freya and my Freya altar. And as I said, it just fits so perfectly in my hand. I picked it up and I couldn't put it down, and so I had to get it. But I actually ended up taking this to work with me the other day and keeping it in my pocket all day as a little touchstone because, yeah, not only does it just have like a really good feel in my hand, it's a good size, and I like the heart shape of it. It just seems like a very nice, warm, happy healing stone. Like I had originally brought my big clear quartz pillar to work with me to keep on my desk because that's what I had bought it for back when I first bought that, was to keep at work. But my cubicle at work right now is not near any windows or anything, so there wasn't really any way for me to get that stone into sunlight, which was usually how I liked to cleanse it. So while it was nice to kind of have there on my desk, it didn't feel like it was serving the purpose that I wanted it to, or doing it what I needed to. So I brought that back home, and I ended up taking this to work with me instead, and I think that this is going to accompany me there from now on, because the calcite I read is just supposed to be a very grounding stone in general, and so yeah, I just felt very comforted and content and soothed when I hold this. So this I think will be what I keep in my workspace with me from now on to help with guarding my energy from negativity and kind of keeping me protected and centered and grounded when I'm stuck in my cubicle all day. Oh man, the sun's coming back out. I think I'm gonna put my shades back on. The next one I have is a nice Labradorite. I also have a smaller, like heart-shaped one, but I have no idea where that disappeared off to right now. But I definitely this was another one that I was specifically wanting to add. This is another one that I was specifically wanting to add to my collection because not only do I just really like the opalescent quality of it, and this is part of why I wanted to film this video out in the sunlight, is so that I could really give you guys the full effect of these stones. You can see there, it's shimmery, opalescent quality. Almost, to me, it looks like an oil slick or the Aurora Borealis is what it reminds me of. And so Labradorite, the name actually comes from Labrador, the name of the place that it was originally discovered and mined, which I believe is in Canada. But Labradorite being, you know, kind of a cool blue-green stone like this, it's very earthy, grounding, and good for amplifying psychic abilities. So, and kind of looking like an aurora, it has very powerful like aura cleansing and energizing abilities. It's supposed to be really good for helping with like psychic abilities and divination. And I've honestly been also kind of using this to just kind of hold and play with and focus on the plays of light on it. When I meditate or when I just need to do some quick grounding or alleviate some like tension or specifically like depression, I feel like because it's kind of like a watery, shifting, ethereal stone, there's just something about it that's very calming and that really alleviates sadness and depression for me. I don't know why, because it seems like a very like moody, broody kind of stone. And I liked this one because I don't know if you can see there, but within the stone it almost has like this blackness, like this void in it where the light doesn't pick up, and it looks like a symbol. It almost looks like a rune, like the algae's rune, or maybe like a double Kina's, different things like that. So I just really like to examine the play of light in the surface of the stone. The back is interesting too because I don't know if you can see that. It has some type of like stony occlusion there on the back, which almost makes it look like an eyeball. Ooh, spooky. This is another one I like the size of, that kind of just fits well in the palm of your hand. I like the smoothness. And so usually depending on like how often I'm going to use the stone or what its purpose is or what I'm going to purpose it for will also dictate the shape or size of stone that I'm looking for. So with these, I wanted some I could hold and carry for meditation, and that would also just make nice big altar pieces. These both sit on my Freya altar because I see her as being tied to, you know, sunny citrine type sunny stones and watery type stones. And so along those lines, I also picked up this very beautiful little aquamarine star. They had star and moon shapes, so I was very torn, but I am a sucker for like anything star shaped. I always have been. I don't know why. Maybe it's another like Freya Vanir vibes thing, because I really associate her and like Njord and the Vanir with the stars for some reason. That's just my personal gnosis. Aquamarine obviously comes from its watery color and watery nature. I really liked the very pale, almost clear color of this one, but you'll find it in more dark blue-green colors as well. And this one is also very calming, soothing, good for dreams and for revealing, hidden depths, hidden meanings, for tapping into your subconscious, dream work, communication, and I would associate this more with like a throat and like through the third eye chakra for cleansing, clairvoyance, seeing, those types of things. But some of these things that I'm saying are stuff that I just got off of like a Google search for gemstones and their meanings, and some of them are honestly just like my own personal feelings, like the vibes that I'm getting off of these rocks. I have 2 bloodstones. And man, it's really hard to get the camera to pick up on the true colors of the bloodstone because it almost looks black in most lighting because it's such a dark green color. But I don't know, I'm just really drawn to those like earthy blue-green. Blues and greens are just some of my favorite colors in general, and so I think that might also be part of why I'm just drawn to like blue-green stones, such as like that aquamarine. And so yeah, I just really liked the dark green color of this. This one has more of the red jasper inclusions in it, so it's a little bit more striated. Because I also like to, like when you have a variety of the same type of stones to choose from, I like to look for unique like patterns and striations within the stones themselves and kind of look for unique ones to pick out. So I liked that this one kind of had like some stripies in it. But bloodstone was also called heliotrope by the ancient Greeks, or sunstone. I think because maybe like the jasper or the sun in it, it was just believed to like really pick up, hold on to, and resonate with sun and sun energy. Nowadays, the more modern interpretation is that bloodstone is called that because it was formed from the blood that dripped onto the ground from the wound in Christ's side when he was on the crucifix. But no, originally it was called heliotrope by the ancient Greeks. Now it's called bloodstone, I think, not only because of the red spots in it, which do kind of make it look like it's been spattered with blood, but it was also believed to have really strong healing properties. So it was often like ground up and put in medicines or poultices, or even just worn by warriors or people who thought that they needed protection from injury. So I think it's just a really nice, earthy, grounding stone because of its dark green color and because of the jasper, the red jasper also makes it a very earthy stone. To me, it speaks to energy, vitality, protection from harm, and granting, just like strength and courage. So these sit on my Freyr altar. I also have a matching pair of black kyanite. It apparently comes in many colors. You'll find like blue and things like that, but I liked these black ones because they looked like wings. Just because of the way the crystals were formed, they looked like raven wings. And so obviously, as a Norse pagan and a follower of Odin, that appealed to me, so I had to pick those up. Just for that alone, that's honestly, I just got them because of the shape. And so when I looked that up, kyanite, and specifically the black kyanite, are useful for meditation, connecting with spirit guides, and as a black stone, and specifically I think like an opaque, more like rocky looking stone, it's really good for grounding and cleansing negative energy and warding from negative energy in particular, as you will find with most black stones. Some verbs going off. Yeah, I hear you. The other thing I picked up from my Frey altar is this little guy. These are called Shiva Lingas or Shiva Lingams. They come in different shapes and sizes. They had bigger ones. I just liked this little guy. It kind of reminded me of like an acorn, and I picked this one out specifically because I liked the duality of it and the fact that it was like half dark and half light, which is interesting because when I looked up the meaning of the stone, I mean, I honestly got it just because I liked the shape. I liked the egg shape, and as someone who has studied Hinduism and Hindu tradition, Shiva is the god of chaos and destruction, not unlike Loki, but the Shiva Linga specifically you will find as an object of worship in many Hindu temples, and it's just a stone, of phallus-looking stone that, you know, you'll often see like offerings or libations poured on it, and it's just like a big like energy fertility symbol, basically, almost like an omphalos or like a navel stone, something like that, you know, like an origin point, just a very sacred well of energy. And so that, along with the shape and just the earthiness, I felt like, even though it was called a Shiva Lingam, it was just really giving me strong Freyr vibes, because it just had like, yeah, this smooth round acorn seed-like shape. And the Ingas or Ingwa's rune, which comes from his name, means like creation or seed or potential. So I just really liked the symbolism of the name of the stone itself, as well as its shape. And what was interesting about the fact that I picked out this dual-sided one is that the Shiva Linga itself comes from a specific river in India, one of their sacred rivers, and the stones are like naturally kind of polished smooth by the water, and then people also harvest them and kind of hand polish them further, so it just becomes like this very sacred object that is revered and built upon and harvested from a sacred place for a sacred purpose, and just represents fertility and also balance and duality, polarity, the balance between masculine and feminine and all of those different energies. And balance and duality, I think, is definitely huge with Frey and Freya just being twins and having their own like duality and polarity to themselves. It was just kind of an interesting coincidence that I ended up picking out this half and half stone for them in particular. So this sits on my Freyr altar. I also have a little Opalite Pyramid here. Now, the thing that I ended up discovering about Opalite is it's not really like a true gemstone or mineral. It's actually just synthetically man-made from glass to have this opalescent, iridescent color to it. But the pyramid shape itself is a good, you know, director and channeler for energy, and just the color itself is, I know I love rainbow iridescent things. Opals are some of my favorites, and this is actually one that my husband bought himself, and I ended up being like, hey, sweetie, honey, baby pie, honey bear, sugar lumps, I was talking to Freya, and she asked if I could have this Opalite Pyramid to put on her altar. So we ended up putting that one on her altar next to a little bigger rose quartz one that we also picked up, because the pyramid shape, obviously a very sacred, powerful, meaningful shape. So I think even if this is just a man-made material, you can still use it as a focus for your own thoughts and energies. Now, I believe I may have shown this one off before. This is my Aragonite in the shape of a Younger Furthark Hagalaz rune, which I thought was very powerful and a powerful talisman. And then I also ended up picking up this one because it looks like Nothus. So now kind of every time I go into the shop, I go right for the aragonites, and I kind of sift through them all, trying to find some that make little rune shapes. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these two, but I liked the idea of having rune-shaped gemstones. And I also am just really mesmerized by the crystalline structure of these. I just find it fascinating that they kind of blossom forth from like this center point, and they all like radiate outward from the center in these like hexagon-like shapes. So it's just a really cool shaped crystal in general. And aragonite also just has a cool name because I think it sounds like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, and I'm a huge nerd like that. But yeah, originally I just picked these out because I thought it was cool that they had this interesting structure and that I had found one in the shape of a rune. But they are also very good for grounding, aligning energies, aligning your chakras, providing stability, balance, and tied to kind of that earth element and the root chakras. Ooh, here's another one of my favorites. So I had to add one of these babies to my collection, and that is malachite. I mean, not only is it the name of an OG Sailor Moon villain, it's just cool looking. Like I said, I really like blue greens and dark green stones, but malachite especially, I just love these cool swirls and patterns that you'll get in the stones when it's polished. And I also have a rough or raw malachite sample that I can show you. It's my husband's, so it's in his box of shinies in his collection, but if you guys want me to do another video, maybe we can do a sit down with him and bring him on the channel to go over his rock collection and why he picked out what he did. I can show you the raw version, but this is my little polished one. Nice size and shape, and I picked this one out because it had just some really cool swirls, dots. It almost looks like a paint drip artwork or something like that. But yeah, malachite is just a really cool stone that I've always loved the colors and the patterns of. And as far as its uses or properties, malachite being green is also a very earthy stone. And I think kind of the more of a mineral as opposed to a clear crystal or gem it is, the more of that earthy property it has, that grounding property it has, because it has more earth material or minerals in its composition, if that makes sense. That's just my own personal feeling, but that's just what makes sense to me. So it's good as a green stone, though. It's also good for your heart chakra. So for helping with emotions, relationships, just giving strength and courage and healing in those areas. And I think it's also a very powerful, transformative stone. It just really seems to easily pick up on and vibe with your energies or the energies around it and amplify them to me. And so I think it's just a good all-purpose stone for kind of enhancing anything that you want to, any type of working really. But yeah, specifically anything with material things, with relationships, career, financial success, material matters, being kind of an earthy stone. Just any type of grounding, healing. Let's see, the other one I have is 2 little green fluorites. And I picked these up as kind of a little matching pair, and I was looking for 2 that were as similar in size, shape, and color as possible, because I think I might turn these into jewelry, actually. Some type of earrings. And fluorite is really good for your third eye and crown chakras. It's really good for enhancing mind, intellect, psychic abilities, intuition. It aids in clarity, focus, all those types of like higher level thinking and processes. So I think I'm just gonna like wire wrap these and make some cute little earrings because I really liked the like double pyramid diamond shape and the minty green color of these. It's one of my favorite colors. So, and just the properties that it's associated with seemed very useful. Along with these two calligraphy stones. This one, as you can see, I was playing around with wire wrapping for the first time. So this was my first ever attempt at wire wrapping a stone for jewelry. So these are called calligraphy stones because of like the unique like scratchy patterns on them. And what's interesting about these is that they're actually kind of made from organic material, like that you would find in like a bog or a grassland or a prairie. So like all these different stripes and like colors and patterns in them are actually like ancient grasses. Millions of years old organic material and grasses from who knows how many eons ago, condensed and pressurized down through the ages until it was finally compressed down into a stone. And so I thought that was like, I just thought they were really cool looking, and I was kind of just finding myself in the shop, like looking at all the different ones to find cool patterns in it. There's like these two crows that live in a tree the next block over, and I hear them all the time out back, and I'm like determined to find them and make friends with them. Last but not least, I honestly can't remember what this one is. It might be another aquamarine. Oh, I can't remember. Next time I'm in there, I'll go find where I picked it out from and look it back up. But I think I want to say most of the stones were like a much lighter color than this, like more like the other aquamarine that I have. So it was either this or something very similar. But I liked that this one almost looked like sea glass. Like it was just very small and had this like cool, smooth like lozenge shape. And it was also just like really clear for how like dark and rich the color was. Oh my god, you guys, there's a hawk over there. Rarely do I see hawks in my neighborhood, like I live in the middle of town. This is my shiny rocks haul. I would say out of everything I have added to my collection recently, the ones that I'm probably the most excited about or have been kind of playing around with the most would be probably this honey calcite. It's, not, it's a pretty common stone or mineral, but just the fact that I found like a really big, nice, pretty heart-shaped one, I immediately got massive Freya vibes from it. And I just get a really nice, comforting, happy feeling when I hold this. So I think it's going to be my work buddy from now on. And then other than that, the Labradorite. I really like the iridescent colors of the Labradorite. But in terms of like what is like one of my all-time favorites, malachite is right up there with amethyst and opals as like top 3 for me. So just as like my favorite rocks. Yeah, that's my new additions to my shiny rocks collection. Most of these I'll probably just be keeping in this box, but yeah, like these live on the Bloodstone lives on the Freyr altar. That was just something that I felt specifically really pulled. Like I don't know why I saw like the Bloodstone and saw like this really cool dark green colored stone, and I just had to have it. If you get anything, pick up some selenite because it's self-cleansing, so useful. Cleanse your altar, cleanse your house, cleanse your kids, cleanse yourself. Fun crystal cleansing for the whole family. You can see my cat there jumping the fence behind me. There goes Thor. But I am a helicopter cat mom, so I only let them out when I'm home to supervise. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too long and rambly, but I just really wanted to get another chance to come sit outside in the lovely weather and do a little show and tell for you of one of my favorite things in the world to collect and talk about, which is shiny rocks. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay classy, pagans. I don't care if it's weird that I'm filming this whole video with my sunglasses. This is what's happening now. If I want to film things outside, oh, my poor weak little eyeballs. I'm a whole vibe. Drink it in, baby.